This deck is not for the faint of heart. It is not for people who are nice. It is for people who want to win and who want to do so in devastating ways. Welcome to the Player Haters Ball. One thing that this current metagame has a preponderance of are mid-rangey Agamotto decks. And these are variant in terms of form and content. There are the ones running just Agamotto. You will run into Agamotto Thanos. You will run into Agamotto Arishem. You will also run into normal Thanos, into normal Arishem. You'll run into people playing Loki. There's a lot of created cards happening right now. Even outside of Agamotto discussions, there's decks playing Victoria Hand with the Moonstone package. So what's happening with this deck is the goal here is say, screw off, all of you. Everything you think you're doing that you think is unfair is actually, it's going to be very fair. It's going to be the most fair. Everyone will be telling everyone else just how fair the games you have to play are against this deck. What's going on here is there is a massive preponderance of tech that is able to be curved out, i.e. proactive rather than reactive, and pairing that tech with big hitters at the top of the curve that spread your power across the board like Miss Marvel, and of course the ever-present 2/3s of Iron Patriot and Sam Wilson to boost your power on the board, means that you are going to be in a very powerful position against anyone who's really doing this kind of thing. Being a deck that wants to be a Mobius deck, being a deck that wants to be a Gorgon deck, Gorgon especially was kind of an all-star here, that is really what this deck is about. You also have massive Sandmen that can come down. Of course, there's really only the one Sandman unless you're playing on a Bar Sinister, but it sounds cooler if I say it like that. And so your goal here is to restrict your opponent's options via every method available to you, playing mostly proactive tech with the exception of Shang-Chi, who is Shang-Chi, and people still play the card Agamotto, and so you still have to run Shang-Chi. But you have Gorgon, you have Mobius, you have Sandman. All of this stuff is proactive, should hurt your opponent more than you, and does a bunch to make these decks that everyone seems to be worried about totally unplayable. Before we get into the card-by-card breakdown, I want to give a shout-out to the player that created this deck. That is JD McDonaldinho. Thank you so much for making this absolutely haterific brew. I hate everyone I play against, and it made me feel very good to make them feel very bad. Card-by-card breakdown time, starting with Hydra Bob. Now, you are a deck that cares a lot about having priority for a few different reasons. The first and most important reason is that you are an Iron Patriot deck and you like being able to put Iron Patriot stuff on the board, but also you're just a big fan of getting points on the board for the worlds where you have to Sandman without your Mobius there, which is pretty common, honestly, so just having numbers down is very good. This is a card that supplements your Iron Patriot game plan. Along with Makari, you don't really have good threes to help Iron Patriot win, but you do have this and you do have Makari, so those are sort of what's making this be a competent Iron Patriot deck despite all of the Iron Patrioting and all of the good threes happening right now. There is something to be said about holding this guy on turn one. I feel like I often do if I don't have a 2-drop or like a very defined 2, 3, 4, 5 curve already kind of thing shaping up in my hand. But I do think that a lot of the time you're just going to be like, I would like priority because I'm going to play Rocket and Groot on my Iron Patriot lane, and I just kind of need that to actually work. Gorgon is kind of an absolute house right now. There are so many things that this card hits, from Loki created cards, which will put them back to their normal cost, but they're getting them fully randomly, to the cards created off of Agamotto, Thanos Stones, Arishem cards that people are getting like the Hoods, Demons, things like a copied Victoria Hand. Just a lot of hits. This is a very created card heavy metagame right now, which means Gorgon is, to me, one of the, like, sort of core 2-3 beaters in the deck like this. Just a hate bear that exists to be a hate bear. If he cost any more, he probably wouldn't be playable, but this deck is sort of really thirsty for a third 2-drop anyway, and I think that Gorgon filling that slot admirably as a fairly relevant tech card, not always, but he's good in the matchups he's good in, is going to be a very helpful thing for you. Iron Patriot, as we all know, is a powerful and dangerous card. What this deck does, I think, very well with both Hydra Bob and Makari is sort of pre-set up Iron Patriot lanes to be difficult for your opponent to contest. That is what allows this deck to be a functional Iron Patriot deck. This card is really here to give you some oomph, because there's really not a lot of ability that this deck has to go tall. So if you're facing something that does go tall, Iron Patriot becomes much higher of a priority. Sometimes you don't really need him to do anything, but a lot of the time when you're going against a deck that is sort of similar to you, getting something really big, really cheap is going to be quite important, and you do have a couple of good ways of making that happen. Sam Wilson, of course, also helps you take priority, which means that Rocket and Groot is a much better follow-up to Iron Patriot than it otherwise would be, because Sam Wilson's shield still starts on the board, meaning that you're going to have 1 point in at least one lane. You can either use that lane as your Iron Patriot lane or use a different lane with the hope of Rocket and Grooting. I strongly suspect that Sam Wilson is straight up the best card in Marvel Snap right now. I do not think that the nerf meaningfully impacted his status as the best card in Marvel Snap, although it did fix a fairly odious interaction that I think was probably worth fixing anyway, just on principle. This is a card that I think is quite unique as a scaler in Marvel Snap, where what I mean by that is if you compare it to something like Angela, they're getting to roughly the same size, except you don't actually have to invest in Sam to make that happen. Plus, Sam's shield has some really incredible synergy with Miss Marvel now that Sam's shield costs 0. That means that you don't have to worry about 1-drops going into places. That shield will be your second unit in any lane because you don't play anything else that costs 0, and that is great news for Kamala Khan. Mobius M. Mobius is quite a relevant card. I'm just gonna list out some stuff that this card hits right now. Lots of people are playing Loki. He's very good into that. People are playing Mr. Negative. He's basically unbeatable into that. He'll hit swarms out of discard, preventing some of their real nut draws, because then Bullseye won't actually discard the swarms. He will do so much for you, just generally speaking, that you'll almost miss the smaller stuff he'll do, like make location variants a little bit less important, or shut down Iron Patriots. If you play a Mobius on turn 3, it doesn't matter if they turn off the Mobius later, it will have already prevented the Iron Patriot debuff, or I guess it's technically a buff, but like it's a reduction, from actually applying. That's really good. It lets you just like ignore opposing Iron Patriots, which is really important because we're not all that good at contesting opposing Iron Patriots. That means that a lot of the time, if you have an Iron Patriot in one lane and they have an Iron Patriot in the other lane, you're going to come out very far ahead on that exchange because your Iron Patriot actually happens and their Iron Patriot gets Mobiused. Rocket and Groot is, I feel, a fairly important part of this list, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could replace him for something like, I don't know, a high roll copycat kind of deal, where just like you want a card that's pretty damn good if you play it on Iron Patriot. Obviously, you like the ability to move, you like the potential upside of Rocket and Groot, but if you're looking for like a legit replacement, I think that one probably does work. You're really just looking for like a metagame relevant 3-drop that'll allow you to do some stuff. I think really just big 3-drop comes pretty close to this guy. The issue is that this guy does go relatively tall for this deck, and what I mean by that is like your deck is basically entirely composed of 5s and then like 1/8 in Sandman, and basically everything else is going to be shorter than that. So in worlds where you care about like the board space at a specific location and need to hit certain breakpoints, this guy's usually going to be one of your bigger units to actually put there. And having the ability to make that choice later in the game is very helpful. I was kind of shocked at how awesome Makari was. Like, this card single-handedly just wins you Iron Patriot lanes, in the sense that you just wait to see where Makari goes on like turn 1 if she's in your opening hand, and then you Iron Patriot that lane. And it's like, oh, well, that's just like totally uncontestable. I was shocked at how good she was. She was just like very consistently a good card for me basically every time I played. I didn't cast her one time. I played this deck for like 4 hours. Not one time did I actually cast her, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. She just does work. Like, this is just a very solid card that you are getting for free and helps you be a real Iron Patriot deck. Shang-Chi is unfortunately the one piece of tech in this deck that is not sort of reactive, or that is reactive rather than proactive. It's not wonderful that you are sort of priced into playing this guy, but he is one of the most played cards in Marvel Snap right now for a reason. That reason is named Agamotto. Until people stop playing a 5/10 and just like generally playing big stuff, I don't really think that we're going to be able to cut this guy. I think that previously with like the Doom 2099 ongoing lists, you could cut him or like you wouldn't need to run him, but we just don't have the same level of point output as they did. And I think that this is a pretty good sort of similarly positioned deck to the old Doom 2099 big points ongoing lists that has like a lot of just relevant front-facing proactive tech that is good into a metagame right now. And that's really what it's doing. But yeah, sometimes you're going to like Sandman, and then you're going to be like, oh my god, my final turn is just playing Shang. And then you get sad, but it's like you're doing that because it wins the game, so you can't be that sad. There have been good Captain Marvel decks before. There have been fairly medium Captain Marvel decks before. And my instinct is that this is a card that is fairly medium. Like, I was rarely feeling like this card was amazing. She was letting me make plays for like closed off locations, but you're already pretty good at that. This is a card that I could very easily see replacing with just like Galacta or whatever, where it's just like, I would like some more point ceiling in this deck, please. So let's just play our 412 instead of Cap Marvel. Like, I'm not in love with her right now, which is unfortunate, because I think this is one of the few decks where it's like a legitimate choice to play her and you can do it, and she does cool stuff, and you know, she's fun and awesome. But there's like an inner part of me that's just looking at this and it's like, we could have 7 more power every game instead, and that's probably going to be better over a longer sample size. I didn't find enough to cut her, but it is the kind of thing that might be worth thinking about developing in the future. Miss Marvel, little known fact, also a Season Pass card. Don't think I got away from playing 3 Season Pass cards in every single deck I've ever played. This is a very powerful point spread card. We are in a metagame that feels like it is not extremely Enchantress heavy. And we are also in a metagame where, for once, Miss Marvel gets to play with the best 2-cost scalers in her deck. Those, of course, being Iron Patriot, who, yes, I kind of count as a scaler. Even though he's not literally a scaler, he's like a 2-drop that gives you a bunch more power. And, of course, Sam Wilson. The Sam Wilson synergy is really notable here. Sometimes you're like, oh, well, I don't have enough to get 2 dudes in a lane. Remember that Sam Wilson's shield is 0 cost now, and that is a very important interaction for what this card does. An extremely powerful card that is basically just a Doctor Doom, but a little bit smaller. This kind of deck cannot exist when people are playing Hela, and so if that keeps coming back, if people are like really all in on Hela and like suddenly that's a thing you're going to see, there's a reason why this kind of deck is existing only now and not in a world where people are playing Hela and other combo decks. Although it is good against Mr. Negative, it's not very good against Hela, it's not very good against Phoenix Force, it probably doesn't even beat like a Shuri Nimrod a lot of the time. The point output is very capped. Despite the fact that there are some powerful cards here, they're all kind of 5s. Sandman, who I'm devastated to report actually has Black Crackle on him. Like, this is kind of a 1-card god split for Sandman. He's got the split that matches his shirt. He's got the Black Crackle, only you can't see the Black Crackle because there is currently a bug preventing it, which kind of sounds like I'm telling you that my girlfriend actually goes to school in Canada and you just don't know her. But I promise it's real. I swear. I got this split after recording the footage, so you won't see it there either, because again, my girlfriend lives in Canada and you probably wouldn't know her, but I promise it's real. Anyway, Sandman is pretty relevant right now because there are a lot of mid-rangey type decks that are counting on flipping 2 locations with a couple of powerful cards on the final turn of the game. Decks that are buffing their stuff with multiple Galactas, really want to be playing multiple cards, and Sandman can make that much harder for them to do. He can also be one-sided with your Mobius, but that very rarely actually ends up mattering. Like, it can matter in a world where you're gonna play, like, final turn Hydra Bob Miss Marvel instead of a Doctor Doom, but that's a pretty specific scenario to find yourself in. Just do keep in mind that, yeah, you do have Mobius Sandman. It's not something you need to play for every single time. A lot of the time, you'll prioritize points over Mobius in matchups where he's not very good, because you get to play Doctor Doom anyway, it's fine. Victor Von Doom is your top end. There is absolutely nothing bad anyone could ever say about this guy. He's just great at his job, and his job is putting 5 points of power everywhere. You love what he does for Miss Marvel. You love the fact that he gets you into closed off locations. You bemoan the fact that everything in this deck is a 5, and that really sort of caps your overall power output, but you are very good at putting numbers on the board in reasonable ways. And as long as the rest of the metagame is being reasonable and your tech is good against it, you're in a very favored position. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for getting to this point in the video. We are going to throw to some gameplay from here. Thank you so much. Please stick around for the gameplay if you'd like to. If you wouldn't, remember to like and subscribe now, because that really helps me out. Leave a comment. I still read them all. That also seems to help me out. People keep telling me it helps me out. Like, if you leave a comment, it's good for the algorithm. I actually have no idea, but I'm gonna, they can't just be wrong, right? Like, come on, leave a comment. It's good for the algorithm. Just trust me, bro. Thank you so much. As always, I've been KMBest. You've been phenomenal, and I will see you in the next one. All right, Makari. You've got one job, dude. Hell yeah. Thank you, baby. Okay, I don't like how I don't have any other cards, but I do like that I'm getting buffs. Okay, now we're splitting them on the 3s. Gotta free that lane up. Don't really have a choice. It also gets it a Miss Marvel buff. So, this feels plausible to me. We could also just go for the Doom, which would at 6 cost be very, very impactful there. I think this one's a little funnier. Got my ass, bro. Got my ass, bro. Beat a weak draw from that deck. You know what I mean? Last I checked, this was a Hella Gamer, which means we are boned. I'll stay around. I mean, I'm an idiot for this. I'm an idiot for this, but I'll do it. Iron Patriot gone, Gorgon, so it's just the cards in their hand. They're just top decking now. Fuck me. I mean, they have 0 cards in hand, so there is that. That was a hell of a shot. So I do this, and then I... Zero cards in hand. Oh, there's the Hella. Okay, this is actually probably helpful. Okay, not like that, but you know. All those 6s you discarded. Hell yeah, brother. Weird Hella list? It's the Danish Hella list. You want to do some slick shit? I want you to fuck off, you know? Do some cool shit? I don't fucking think so. Harisham. Gorgon, please. Oh, Thanos, some shit. Damn. Gorgon, please. Oh, and you feel Gorgon's run would be really fucking relevant right now. Gorgon also affects Loki cards, correct. So, like, they probably drop a Thanos in here, right? Six energy. Oh, okay. I have to snap now or they're gonna win that lane. Does the deck live and die by drawing Doom, or do you get to go elsewhere often? It sort of depends. If you're Eliathing, where would you Eliath right here? Ooh, yeah, we take that. Why not play it left? That's an excellent question, my friend. I think that would be a super good gag. All right, we're a Mobius gamer. We gonna get him or not? Mobius! Mobius. Where the fuck is my Mobius? Well, that's not helping. I don't like that Cersei. I'm not gonna fucking do anything with it, but it's kind of funny. Bruce, you motherfucker! Please don't go mid, Makari. I beg of you. It's really all I want from you. Go right, Makari. Go right. Just in time, let's go. That is exactly where I wanted her. I don't know, yeah, Sandbar, Triskelion, Gorgon. It's Sandbar, Triskelion, Gorgon, Sandman. There's just a lot going on here. That I dislike. Okay, Bruce. All right, are we ready to fucking scam? Y'all ready for this shit? Y'all ready for this? Where are they most likely to play one card? If anywhere. I think it has to go here though, because like they're gonna skip into the She-Hulk thing, right? We don't have fucking Mobius, and we're gonna die anyway. They didn't skip into She-Hulk. I mean, these are cards. Legally and technically speaking, these are cards. A fucking Mobius! Maybe I should have gone mid. She-Hulk if they're playing my version? Okay, well, if they have that, we're fucking dead. So, you know. We're fucking dead. That's one card! We beat one card, baby! Yeah! That's what I fucking thought, dude. We beat one card. That is the thing that we beat. That's the very specific play line that we actually beat. Also, Husky, yeah, this is what I meant when I said Hobgoblin would not have secured that middle lane. That -8 is not doing shit. Speed, no. Oh, hell yeah. You're actually doing shit like that. You're fucking Thanos deck? 13 cards in deck? 13 is Thanos, right? It is. God, I hope they didn't get my Mobius. Later, Husky. Okay, I'd be pretty mad if I was him. Please do not get my fucking Mobius. Is really what I'm trying to convey here. Unreal. Unreal game. Christ. We had that from Daily Bugle all along. Well, yep. Don't fuck me, Makari. Ooh, she did fuck me. Can they win, though? I don't know. Seems pretty difficult. Shield left, Doom mid. I can't move my shield. What I can and do lose to is like if they have her. If Makari went left, it was the worst. I needed her to go right, but mid is worse than left. Yeah, please. Oh, they have Miss Marvel. Fuck. That's Miss Marvel, right? Oh, wait, they have Loki there. It doesn't work. Oh, we're good. I just realized, yeah, they had Loki. Okay, we're good. This was always, not always, but like probably always winning. Also, are we gonna talk about that? Are we gonna talk about about this fucking thing? Are we gonna talk about it?